Yesterday was a shot across our bow, and it showed why the discussion about financial reform, taking control of Wall Street, making sure we don't face another financial crisis that devastates people's lives and destroys trillions of dollars of wealth, it shows why that discussion is, I believe, short-sighted, false, and very weak. You may have read that the market at one point plunged 500 points and was down 1,000 points until it recovered hundreds of points. And apparently, at the very least, in the best case scenario, that happened because of a technical glitch. But really what's at heart here is the massive trading that happens by computers, that happens because a few people control the ups and downs and the swings of the markets. A few institutions can move markets very quickly based on rumors, based on the attempt to make a quick profit. This is why our economy has been devastated so deeply over the last year and a half, and that was building over a period of time as the stock market grabbed its influence over the economy, as the financial services grew, as the banks grew, and as financial services assumed too big a place in our economy. And so what I've been arguing is a point that I think has not been focused on in this debate, and that is that it's not just about making sure that the greed doesn't happen again. It's not just about making sure that we know what's happening with derivatives. It really is about cutting the size of Wall Street down, cutting the size and the importance of the financial markets into a much smaller part of our economy. If we do that, then we will focus more on things that give us long-term growth and build real things. Much of the market, much of the financial services is just about exchanging paper. It's about getting a little bit of a hedge here and a hedge there, a little edge over someone else and making profits, betting against a currency, betting against a stock, betting against mortgages. That doesn't create real wealth, long-term wealth for the people of this society. I'm in favor of cutting down the size of Wall Street so it does not have an outsized influence on our economy. Now let's be clear, banks and bankers have an important role to play. They give loans to small businesses. They give loans to people so that they can put their kids through college. But what's happening now is that we are avoiding that basic fundamental question. I do support cutting down banks so that they're not too big to fail, but that isn't really taking care of the bigger problem. If I'm elected to the United States Senate, one of the things I'm going to focus on is reducing the influence, reducing the size of Wall Street. Now let's be clear. There's a clear choice in this election. You'll have a chance to vote either for someone who is totally bought off by the banks and the financial services, that's Kirsten Gillibrand, the #1 recipient of money from Goldman Sachs among Democratic senators, while people have been debating how to cut down the size of Wall Street, control it, while people have been debating about putting a bank tax on the big banks, which Kirsten Gillibrand opposes. She's been continuing to collect thousands of dollars from banks and financial services. She just had a huge fundraiser on, of all places, Park Avenue, where some people were charged $10,000 to come to that event to benefit her campaign fund and election. People are buying this United States Senator. That's very clear. On the other hand, people have a chance to vote for me. I'm hoping to lead a movement to cut down the size of Wall Street, make sure we don't have this kind of economic calamity again, make sure that the people have the power to control what's happening in our financial system. It's also why I support Bernie Sanders' proposal to audit the Federal Reserve and to make sure that the Federal Reserve is under our control, under the Congress's control. Let's make it clear. Congress created the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve did not create Congress. Congress has a right to know what the Federal Reserve is doing. So more power to Bernie Sanders for pushing that issue. We need to take control over the financial services. That's what I'm going to be leading in the United States Senate.